Hi everyone. I wanted to make a soft-spoken video talking about a book I'm currently reading. I almost didn't record this because the heater is going, but I think that might be nice background sound. So we're going to go forward with the heater on because it is very cold here in Vermont. So I'm currently reading 2 books, but this one I've been reading for a few months, and it's taking me so long because I'm reading it with a friend, and she just moved, and I just moved. So the process has been long, but we are almost done. We have just over 100 pages left, I think 112, something along those lines. So I wanted to talk about this book, and maybe I'll read the first page or 2 or some quotes. So this is called The Searcher by Tana French, and my copy is getting worn. There's some marks on the pages, but it is a signed copy, so I'm very proud of that. And this is the first time I've ever read Tana French. This book is an extremely slow burn, but I'm absolutely enchanted by it. Typically when a book is a slow burn, unless it's like 300 pages or so, I start to get bored because of how slow it is, moving the recorder slightly more towards myself. But this is one of the first books where it doesn't matter to me. I'm so engrossed in the story and the style. There's one review on the back that says, "One of the most distinct and exciting new voices in crime writing. The literary world's favorite mystery writer." And then Stephen King says, "Terrific, terrifying, amazing, and the prose is incandescent." Now, nothing against Stephen King. He's one of my favorite authors. But so far, there hasn't been anything terrifying about this book. Maybe it will have an ending that will blow me out of the water or something like that, but I kind of feel like the case will gradually get solved, and maybe some things will happen along the way that are terrifying. But more like this book very much has to do with people's relationships to each other and to the place where they live, and their communications with each other, because the case that the main character is working on very much is reliant on how he is able to talk with and coerce information out of other people. So I'm going to give a basic summary. The main character is Cal. He is a 48-year-old retired police officer. He used to be a police officer in America, but he retired from that and moved to Ireland, where he wants to live out the rest of his days. And I find this interesting because not retiring from policing, but it seems to be point blank his retirement. And that surprises me because 48 is young to retire, but at the same time, it's I'm losing my train of thought, and I forgot where I was going with that. But it again, 48 is young to retire. He hasn't expressed like, I'm retiring from this career field and going into another. It's truly, he's not getting another job. He is fixing up his house that he bought in Ireland. It's really this rundown, almost not shack, but really rundown cabin, and he's fixing it up from the ground up. So basically, the story goes, he's a retired cop. He moves to Ireland, and he is fixing up the cabin that he lives in. He's got running water, he's got electricity, but that's pretty much it. He's got a mattress on the floor, and doesn't have much furniture yet. So he's doing, things to fix the place up. And he has a neighbor named Mart, who a lot of his neighbors are farmers. So he's got a neighbor named Mart who has a bunch of sheep, and he often goes to a bar called Sean Ogues that is in town, and all the men of the town really always want him to be social and drink and be rowdy, and he does that a little bit, but he's not as into it as the locals want him to be. And one day, this 13-year-old kid comes by named Trey, and he starts teaching Trey different things about fixing things up. So he's working on a desk that he wants to put in his office, and so he's teaching Trey how to sand things and dust things up, and fix screws in the desk and things like that. And eventually Trey figures out that he's a cop, or was a cop, or maybe he knew that from the beginning. It's hard to say, because it's been a few months since I've started reading this book. But Trey's brother, who is 19, is missing. And he asks Cal to solve, where his brother is. Is he murdered, or was he kidnapped, or anything like that? Something that comes along with this case is that it's the Reddy family. That's their last name. And the Reddy family has a kind of tarnished reputation with the town. The father was abusive, and some of the children, I don't remember how many children. I think there's 5 or 6 children, something like that. A lot of the children get into trouble a lot. A lot of them miss school, things like that. So when Cal goes to the police and asks them not to take up the case, but just asks them about the Reddy family, he is met with dismissiveness. And it's oh yeah, Brendan Reddy, the missing brother. Brendan Reddy just ran away. That's what that family does. They always get into trouble. So Cal realizes that if Brendan didn't run away, nobody's going to help him, because this bad reputation is following him. So everybody assumes he ran away because he's a quote-unquote troubled kid. So Trey starts coming over almost every day And Cal says, look, I'll take this case for you, but I'm not a police officer anymore. So there are things that I used to be able to do as a cop, like look at cell phone records or, bring in witnesses. I can't do. I have to rely on people being willing to have conversation with me instead of like bringing them into the station and having an interrogation or something like that. So he tries to make it clear that he has limited resources now that he's no longer a cop. And so the story is the relationship that he develops with Trey and with the town. And as he slowly, and let me emphasize slowly, because this is a very slow burn, starts to figure out what happened to Brendan Reddy. He has his own opinions, but he tries to put those aside. He talks to the mom, he talks to the ex-girlfriend, several different people. And the interesting thing is he has to jump through these hoops because town gossip and just like the attitude of the town makes it very clear that no one wants to talk about Brendan Reddy and nobody really cares what happened to him. So he has to enter the conversation trying to coerce the information out of these people without letting them know that he's investigating it. So it's very good. And I really like how it's not just about the investigation. It's about his relationships to his neighbors, his relationships to, the new townsfolk. And it's also about his relationship with his daughter and his ex-wife, because he's divorced and he has a young daughter, not young as in like child, but a daughter who's like 20 or so. And he's always kind of, for the past few years, he's had a prickly relationship with his wife, and he worries about his daughter, but can only do so much from thousands of miles away. And he calls her occasionally, but it's just a very beautiful story about human relationships and the love and concern somebody can show for you when they're not even family. So it's very good. I've always wanted to read Tana French. She's been on my list for quite a while, but I highly recommend this book. My battery is running low, so I'm going to wrap it up. But I'm going to read the first page about, and I think I've mentioned that Cal is the name of the main character. Also by Tana French, The Witch Elm, The Trespasser, The Secret Place, Broken Harbor, Faithful Place, The Likeness, and In the Woods. Chapter 1. When Cal comes out of the house, the rooks have got hold of something. 6 of them are clustered on the back lawn amid the long wet grass and the yellow flowered weeds, jabbing and hopping. Whatever the thing is, it's on the small side and still moving. Cal sets down his garbage bag. He considers getting his hunting knife and putting the creature out of its suffering, but the rooks have been here a lot longer than he has. It would be pretty impertinent of him to waltz in and start interfering with their ways. Instead, he eases himself down to sit on the mossy step next to the trash bag. He likes the rooks. He read somewhere that they're smart as hell, They can get to know you, bring you presents even. For 3 months now, he's been trying to butter them up with scraps left on the big stump toward the bottom of the garden. They watch him trudge up and down through the grass from the ivy-loaded oak where they had their colony, and as soon as he's a safe distance away, they swoop down to squabble and comment over the scraps, like but they keep a cynical eye on Cal, and if he tries to move closer, they're gone, back to the oak tree to jeer down at him and drop twigs on his head. Yesterday afternoon he was in his living room, stripping away the mildew wallpaper, and a sleek, mid-sized rook landed on the sill of the open window, yelled what was obviously an insult, and then flopped off, laughing.